Welcome to Magical Mondays, guys. Okay, so if you're new to this series, this is going to be just some channeled information about every week, what to expect, what might be going on. So every week on Sunday or Monday, I sit down and I do some channeling and I find out what we're looking at. I also find out like any activators. So activators can be colors, symbols, tarot cards, shapes, crystals, scents, activities, animals, foods, herbs, creatures in some cases, like today. Just things we can use to activate certain energetic coding that's going to help us get through the week. And as this is channeled, it's going to be more of how to help you through what you're going through. That's really the purpose of these. So let's get into it. The first things that they brought to my attention this week were colors. So the colors were dark red and dark purple. So you can see that there's some dark purple here in the amethyst. But those colors, they needed to be dark, and they needed to be dark for the boldness and the power that they carry. It's discernment, the energy of discernment. So you can use a lighter color amethyst if you wish, but if you're going to wear the colors, opt for deep red and deep purple. These are going to give you the grounding, but also the power and the discernment and the intuitive connection. There is a lot of root chakra upgrading going on right now. So we want to be grounded. And when the information comes in, it's going to trigger the crap out of a lot of people. Hence why the darker purple. Last week we were looking at lighter purple, we got the information we needed, and now we have to apply it, which is a little bit more difficult. So in terms of the symbols that we were looking at, this is going to be clover. See if you can see it over here. My camera setup is not the best. I'm going to be working on it. But clover. And we also had horseshoe, which I've got one of those bad boys over here somewhere. And we're also looking at horseshoe. So the reason we're looking at these symbols is the luck, obviously. One of the things that really came through in the channeling I was doing before this session, I always channeled during, but I like to get a little bit of insight before, so I'm not flying in totally blind. Even though that's fun sometimes, I like to get the symbols beforehand. And I like to just do the reading on live. But they were talking to me, and they being the unicorns, let's just be real, as to why the unicorn deck is here. And isn't she beautiful? Like, can we just talk about that for a minute? It's just absolutely stunning. But the reason why the unicorns were there is they're going to be coming through really strongly as a symbol this week in terms of sacred knowledge. And there's a lot to be learned from them. So that's why I used this deck in particular. It belonged to a family member, so I wanted to also give them kind of a place. But yeah, so when we're looking at what we're really facing this week, the archetypes of the Tower and the Wheel of Fortune are really prominent. So that's why luck, right? That's why luck is so important right now. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune there. Luck is really important right now because we are releasing a lot right now. I can't stress how much. I'm sure you guys know. I don't need to tell you, like, I'm sure you know exactly how much is being released right now. But the problem is, the unicorns were really worried that people will get stuck in the releasing and not what it's setting them up for. But if you get stuck in the releasing, it's going to slow you down. Again, we're in the last shedding of the year in the snake. This is the year of the snake. These are all the truths we really didn't want to see. And you know what? If you've done well with it, good for you. And if you hadn't, that's okay too, because it is extremely difficult. And so this is why luck is so important. You can clear, but if you've got luck after the clearing, then your alignment is going to reach you faster. So again, we have some symbols for that, but that was, if you want to lock this in a little bit more easily, you're going to opt to wear things with a horseshoe or a four-leaf clover. Okay, so again, the tarot cards this week we're looking at are the Tower and the Wheel of Fortune. Some people are going to be the Tower. Some people are going to be the Wheel of Fortune, and some of you lucky devils will be both, and that's okay. Know that what you're releasing is setting you up, my friend. It's not trying to harm you, even though it feels that way. All the structural collapse that is happening right now is the last leg. And so you have to look at what it's bringing to you and not just what you're knocking down and getting lost in the grief, which is, again, why the luck. There might be a lot of heaviness this week. Anything you can do around like road openers, if you're called to that, alignment and luck are going to be really powerful. Now the shapes, they were a little cheeky with me on this. They said a square. And when I asked, okay, unicorns, why the square? And they're like, think outside the box. So if you want to carry around a shape this week, use a square. And when you run into a situation, look at that square and go, okay, where am I boxing myself in? Where am I seeing limits where there aren't any? Where am I telling myself I can't move through this? And what if I zoomed out and I let go of how I believe the situation needs to be solved? What would I see? Was really like, let the magic in. There's been really theme for the last 2 weeks for these. So that is really prominent. Now, I always ask about crystals. So there are some crystals you can wear to bring in the energies this week. Blue calcite was one of them. I believe this is blue calcite. Don't come for me. But blue calcite. The reason why they wanted blue calcite was some of you are locking into soul alignment and soul mission, and you have to speak it out loud. For some of you, there's really like this need to be brave enough to claim it. And there's a lot of you that are going to be feeling like unsure when that soul alignment comes through, where it's like, I couldn't take up the room for that. I couldn't do that. Well, guess what? You are, and it's for you, or you wouldn't have the desire to do so. And that's really what this is trying to say. So you might have to communicate a lot of big boundaries this week, but you need to do it in lightness. And that's why the blue calcite. It will align you to that soul mission, and it will make that communication flowy, soft, easy, but poignant, which is really what we need. And it's going to bring in that light as well. The other crystals they mentioned were quartz. Now, you can't ever go wrong with quartz. But quartz's role was to amplify. You need the light amplified right now. So if you're doing a lot of releasing, you're dealing with a lot of heaviness, here's the combo I'd suggest. Black tourmaline, again, can't ever go wrong with black tourmaline, right? But they wanted specifically black tourmaline and quartz. So if that's a, tourmalinated quartz would just be like chef's kiss here. Obviously, don't know why I didn't realize that until now. But if you happen to have tourmalinated, you know what I'm saying. If you happen to have tourmalinated quartz, that would just be ideal. What they would like for this collective this week is to know that there is something coming from all the releasing. There is, I promise you. You might not see it yet. So you want to ground into it. And you also want to protect yourself from outside energies right now, because it's like an onslaught. Like, it really is. Everyone around you is going through something, and this will shield you from that. And this will amplify the voice of Source. And this also will amplify the voice of the unicorns, but it'll amplify the voice of Source. And you need that right now. Those of you that are in my collective, you really need to stay in the light and process the dark, but don't get lost in it, and hold the light even though you don't know where you're going, is really what they were trying to say. And they're acknowledging that that is not an easy thing to do. So we've got our work cut out for us. However, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. In terms of scents, I always like to talk about scents you can wear, and everything I'm listing is an activator. So if you're doing any of this, it's going to activate coding within you and activate certain energies within you that'll make you able to navigate this week easier and integrate what's coming in. I do a lot of work with people who are channels, so this will be very good for you. So in terms of the scents, there's a lot about circulating abundance coming up. So they wanted berry scents, succulent scents, like the kind that are like a little luxurious, like pomegranate, like strawberry, blueberries, blackberry. Any of those berry scents that are a little tart, that's perfect. They want something to cut through but not be sharp. So what they were expressing was that those kinds of scents would give you the clarity, but they wouldn't be too sweet, if that makes sense. You need sweetness, but you need clarity. So green apple, also an excellent thing to do. If you guys like green apple scents, I really recommend this one. I love it. It's Miss Granny Smith by Fleur, and it is very tart, and that's perfect for this week. So if you guys are needing a new scent to explore and you like green apple, try that one. But they really recommended scents that are just a little bit tart and just a little bit sweet. It's about the experience. So those scents can really lock things in. And in terms of activities, they just mentioned nature hikes, walks, and spiritual baths. Like nature bathing is really important right now, and water is really important right now. And I'll get into the water in a minute. Now, foods, they were looking at apples, berries, again, that sour, that cut through, and creatures, unicorns. But we'll get into that in a minute. Now, here's just some messages that came through before we get started on the reading. Releasing and attracting. Anything you can do to not... Oh, and I forgot. Plants? Catnip for this week. Just always catnip, but honestly catnip for this week. We need attracting. Catnips, mint. Oh, the other scent was mint. So if you have anything that's mint, that would be ideal too. Whether it's peppermint, whether it's spearmint, doesn't matter. You can even try this as gum. That will help you this week. But in terms of the messages, releasing and attracting, anything that can be done to not get caught up in the energies of the releasing. The releasing is natural, it's neutral. It doesn't actually mean anything, it's just heavy to let go. And it's just pulling things out with you. They want to stress that you're safe during the releasing, it is leading somewhere, even though it doesn't feel like it. It can be really hard to release and not see where you're going. So that was kind of the difficulty. But they want you to note what's being released and what does the next level up look like. What did it make room for is really their question. They want you to spend some time this week naming what you want instead and calling it in. So whether you call in with manifestation, whether you call in with herbs, whether you call in through daydreaming, they want you to immerse yourself. An app that is really good for that is called Stella. Stella has been making rounds on TikTok. She's subscription based, but she has a free trial. You basically plug all your dreams into Stella, and Stella will write you stories about them. So if you need to immerse yourself, that's a great way. You can also try scripting, where you write out the stories about, what happened, how did you get it, etc., etc. That would be perfect. Even just daydreaming would be perfect for you right now. You're calling things in. The timelines are shifting like nobody's business. They're so fast, truly. And so that is why you want to claim it before something claims it for you. Right now, you can program. This is a time where you can tell reality, I want this, I want this, I want this. And the energies are moving so fast that jumping will actually be easy, which it isn't all the time. So there's some advantages to doing releasing rituals, luck and alignment rituals, all of that. And you just don't want to get stuck. The releasing is tough. Of course, it's setting the stage though. It's creating room. And so this is where they mentioned the quartz. Now, here's some other messages from them. They really wanted to stress they don't want the choices being made for you. So whenever you release something, you create space. And when that space is not filled, well, the universe is going to fill it. You can tell them what you want it filled with. And this can be so powerful because if you don't, the choice will be made for you. So whether you write them a list and you just talk out loud and you're like, I want these things, I want more money, I want to make this much, I want to have these kinds of friends, this kind of relationship. Perfect. Perfect. That would be ideal. They mentioned luck and alignment spells. They mentioned daydreaming. They mentioned calling in a higher standard and that being really important. For a lot of you, you don't know what's possible. They're expressing this in like blueprints and like grids. When you're at you're dealing with a low vibrational expression of things like love, right? You won't know that like there's like 6 grids up and you could just shloop. You wouldn't know that because you've never experienced it, so you don't think it's possible for you, right? And so when you're looking at something like this, you want to go, I want this. How do I move from here to here? And that's something you can ask for right now. So what's the higher standard? What's the next level up of what you've experienced? What's 4 levels up? And really ask them for that. What's going to happen is they're going to start aligning you with those timelines. And it can take some time, but you'll learn what you need to release. And if you're compatible, it's going to come in right away. So remember, things are fast right now. So the energies are not like something we've experienced before. I mean, maybe other people have, but it depends on how old you are, right? In this circumstance, this is a really unique kind of year. Okay, so releasing heavy, dense energies into the earth. What they want you to do to help you cope, and again, if you use the black tourmaline, this will be easier, just put your feet on the ground once a day, open up the chakras in your feet and your hands, leave them upward, and just, you don't have to put your feet upward because that's not possible. But you know what I mean? Like you just want your feet on the ground or slightly lifted and just open up those channels and let them move. Open up those channels and let them move out. And that's really what you're going to want to do right now is just allow that to move. And that'll just help you not carry any excess. You know what? You want to be doing this all the time. But for so many of us, these releases have just brought up some really heavy stuff. And allowing that to move will just be very, very powerful for you to not get lost in the sauce. The other thing that they brought up was water, mermaids and sirens, dolphins and selkies. Right now, you want to carry your messages to the river spirits. You want to take spiritual baths. You want to let things wash away. When you wash away, you have room for what the unicorns are going to bring in. And so you really want to wash away, heal, transform, which is why selkies are so great right now. So in terms of what the unicorns were bringing in, we're about to talk to them a little bit more. Sacred knowledge and coding. If you have any way to connect with them this week, use it. If you happen to have a deck like this, maybe pull a card once a day. If you happen to have a unicorn t-shirt or like a necklace, like wear that shit right now. Unicorn light language is really prominent. If you're somebody who does light language, be prepared, because their energy is really needed right now. So they're going to be pouring through the collective energies. So you might wake that up. If you don't do light language, if you watch people who do, sometimes it wakes it up. But those of you who do, you might notice that that's coming through really prominently right now. People who are channels, you might notice the unicorn is really significant. Okay, so the last thing that they mentioned, they want to help us understand why the things that are heavy are being transformed. Some of us don't understand why we had to let them go. And when we don't understand why we had to let them go, or there's a personal story or attachment, it makes it so difficult to allow that release to actually work. So that's what they're looking for. And last but not least, tell the water. Bring the water offerings. Water can really move things for you right now. If you're, taking a shower, imagine it washing it all away. Drink your water mindfully. Tell your water what you want, and it will help bring it to you. These cycles are closing right now. Collectively, there are mass cycles closing. And we're talking about seeing what they've created space for, not just focusing on what they've closed. But again, that water can just help you have grace during this time period. So those are my channeled messages. And let's see what else we got. Don't mind me. I'm just going to move myself around so you guys can actually see some things. Okay. Unicorns. What would you like to share today? What can we tell the collective? Okay, we got some starters. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Okay, so the first one, we're talking about all these cycles. Hello and goodbye. There are so many things ending right now. And it's okay. It's okay, but it doesn't feel okay. It's actually setting you up for a higher standard, for something even better in your life. So if you're seeing relationships end right now, that's, it can't go with you. Whatever that vibration is, it's not compatible for where you're going. And know that all the good things you gain from those people, they'll follow you, but they'll be even better. And so it's really making peace and seeing the other side of the coin, which is not just what you've lost, but what you stand to gain, which is what they told us earlier. For some of us, there's some clarity that comes from sleep. This says you'll know in the morning. For some of us, the practice of asking a question before you go to sleep can be really powerful right now. Especially if you're wearing those tart scents, or, like you could ask a question while you're chewing mint gum, something like that. If you combine those, that could be really powerful. But sleep is really needed. This is a very illusionary time. Like, we're obviously dealing with a lot of Neptune movements right now. That's been really prominent. There's a whole lot of movement going on with Saturn too, and so many Piscean energies are coming to a close, with Saturn and Neptune having just made some pretty big movements. Things are hard to discern, but when you wake up first thing in the morning, you're very clear. And if you don't get up and do anything, just hold space and be like, what can be answered for me right now? Or ask a question before you go to sleep, write it on a notepad, stick it next to your bed. Jot down what you think of in the morning. It might not make sense right away, but sleep is highlighted. Don't fight before you go to bed. Don't try to tackle complex things before you're going to sleep. So much illusion is lifting, and it can be tough. And that's another reason why the water, probably. That might be why. For a lot of us, there are a lot of gifts opening right now. Spiritually, for sure. They mentioned unicorn light language. This also feels like life mission. I feel like for a lot of you, you're wising up. And I say wising up because there's so many of you that go, well, I can't do that. I'm not talented enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not this, I'm not that. Right now, the timelines are moving so fast, and you're going to kind of be called to pay attention to what you're supposed to be doing here, what your life mission is, all those creative impulses you're feeling, all those draws you feel. You're supposed to just, pardon my French, but F around and find out right now. That's really what they're wanting you to do, is to just give yourself a chance. And try things that are unfamiliar to you, and you're going to be wowed at what actually does come through, and it's going to surprise you. And just know you are way more capable than you actually think you are. And you're going to get through this time period, but inner truth is really important for that. Speaking of which, our next card, True. And, that also makes me think of this. Truth, right? Calcite is so good at helping somebody see truth. Right now, what you are feeling called to, you are having so much illusion lift right now. that what you're going to see is pure honesty. And honesty hurts when you haven't allowed it to be present. Honesty hurts. That's okay. When it hurts, you know that that's what's true. You feel that truth in your body. And sometimes that hurt is just a reflection of how long it's been since you allowed yourself to see that truth and all the things that stood in the way. Everywhere where we have BS in our lives, it's just because we're not choosing truth. Choosing truth can be difficult, but that's the root of all dissonance, is lack of truth. And sometimes we hold on to things because of what they say about us or what image we're trying to project or any of that stuff. And this is all falling away right now. So truth is really big. And again, that blue calcite can really help you if you're looking for truth right now. You're looking for alignment. So many of you are going to see that there is really powerful alignment in the desires you're feeling, in those things that are like just starting to be true and visible to you in your gut. Now, one of the things that has been really prominent with all the heaviness that came through in this reading is just, it's going somewhere. I promise you it's going somewhere. I promise you there is a reason why all of this is happening. It's not easy to wait. But you won't have to wait long, because triple fire horse here. You're going to get the clarity you're looking for. You have to think you've just been through an extremely difficult year full of shedding. And for some of us, this has been really difficult. And you've created space. Now you just need to let that space be filled and trust that it is being filled. And that it will be filled in the ways that you're asking for. So make sure that you ask for what you need. But your patience, everything that happened this year, you're going to see what it was holding space for. You're going to see what those gates, when they opened, what they're bringing. And you're going to be so thankful that you supported yourself through everything that you've been going through. You're going to be so thankful that you held out and that you had patience. It is going somewhere. I promise you. I promise you. Okay. Anything else, unicorns? Anything else you'd like to share? Woo! Oh, okay. Apparently a lot of something else's. And here I was being like, oh, okay, only a few cards. No, they have other plans. Okay. All right, let's see what we're looking at here. Okay, make sure we know our pile that we already dealt with. Okay, so this magic is so big right now. I can't stress it enough. If you guys didn't watch last week's reading, like that was all about magic and the archetype of magic. It's all about hope. There is so much hope amongst all that darkness, but it really depends on what we're looking at, and all of our media is being flooded by that dark right now. It's a very dark seeming time, right? Like there are a lot of bad things happening and being shown to us right now. And maybe some of that is a really big distraction from ourselves. Maybe some of that keeps us clouded. Maybe that fight keeps us not seeing what our truths are. Maybe all that dissonance makes it really hard to connect to ourselves, you know? And so right now, ask for what you want. Make a point to ask for what you want. And ask for it from a heart-centered space. Like, I like to get mad when I ask for something I want because I'm passionate. And that's truth energy, right? That's that truth. Anger is your truth. Anger will show you where your boundaries have been crossed. People say that all the time, but your anger is your truth. And if you're mad about something, it's because your truth is being stepped on in some way. So get mad and ask your spirit guides for what you want and ask them for that divine intervention. Ask the unicorns. I'm sure they'd be willing to help you. Make a wish and expect the very best. A lot of us are going to see really powerful wishes coming through right now because we've made room. So again, I love that unicorns came through this week because they're such an archetype of happiness, but this is happy thoughts. Immerse yourself in the things that make you happy. Like, find funny TikTok videos. There is so much BS in this world right now. So much dark, so much heaviness, that if we don't make space for that lightness, then we will totally miss out on it because it is so heavy. Everyone around you is processing extremely dark things right now. And in a lot of ways, we have to create space for lightness. So whether that's calling up a friend that brings lightness or, play or watching movies was a big thing in our last week's reading. Like anything that is like magical. So like fairy movies, things like Merlin, like all that kind of stuff. Anything that has fairy tale and hope and magic that can really help you to reconnect. But making a point to look at happy memories, making a point to think about things that made you happy, making a point to watch funny videos. It will shift your vibration. It'll help your body process everything going on right now. And again, light. In a time that is so dark, you know what a powerful practice can be? And this might sound silly, but thinking about the light in everyone around you, thinking about the, like, things you love about people around you, things you love about yourself, standing in that appreciation. Like, if you struggle with this, look into Abraham Hicks, because the things that Abraham Hicks shares are so full of positivity and light. They could really help you find the way to find light in a dark time when it seems like there's no way to find that, because the world is heavy right now. Okay, so they mentioned spiritual baths, and this must be why. So many of us are really open energies, and we actually just need a lot of detoxing. Everything you're thinking is probably stuck energy in your body. Everything that you're spiraling about is probably stuck energy in your body. If you want to work with things like that to move them out, again, black tourmaline can be helpful. Obsidian can be helpful. Onyx can be helpful. Smoky quartz can be helpful. But also, herbs like clove can be helpful. Anything that allows you to release, right? Anything that pulls off, anything that helps you drain, like Epsom salt baths, really helpful. If you know somebody that makes mojo bags, or, maybe they sell something like uncrossing oil, something like that, anything that helps you uncross, release, look out for any, hexes, jinxes, blah, 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 anything like black cat right now can be really helpful. But you really just want to purge and let go. Things like lemon scent can be really helpful. Mint can be helpful here too. That might be why they brought it up. You just need to move things off. So many of us are so serious right now because things have been difficult. But the truth is, we just have to process those energies and move them out. If we don't move them out, then they're going to keep cycling. And, okay, so shameless plug. If you're not an energy master, you should get into it. There's a 7-day free trial, but these are all the tools that I've used to maintain my psychic ability and maintain my skills. And they really do help. Things like the block release can really help you detoxify your energy. It can shift energy on a dime. It's very powerful. Things like the solar shield can help you come back from a time of depression or difficulty or something like what the year of the snake is putting you through. Breaking the loop is a Reiki experience that's in there. It can help you close out cycles and really find the truth on things. I swear, most of my membership is built around this very thing to help people release and find truth. So if that resonates with you, give it a check. I'm going to put it in the thing below. Again, take the words out of my mouth. Laughter. Belly laughing. Silliness. I really feel like silliness is so strong in this. And having time to be an idiot. Pardon my French, but being stupid. You need to just be silly and dumb right now because everything is so serious that you need to provide a contrast and be unserious. Call up your most unserious friend. For a lot of you, that might be me. Call up your most unserious friend. And enjoy your silliness. Enjoy your play. This is a great time for inner child energy. Okay, so this is a different pile, so probably a different message. For a lot of you, you might have a grandparent that's passed away. You might have several, but there are people on the other side, and it might even be people that are living too. I mean, we have to consider the living, right? It's probably a good thing. Even though I do what I do, we should consider the living. For some of you, grandparents are going to be really, really important right now. And I think that's very funny because of this deck, but it's working with the other side. And you see how there's a kitty cat? Well, our animal of the week was in fact kitty cat, and I forgot to tell you, but that's why Luna's over here. A lot of us are yearning for independence right now. And you know who didn't have it? Probably your grandparents. Things were a lot harder when they were young. And for many of us, they have worked at building that lightness throughout their lives on Earth. And they have built that happiness for themselves. They've really leaned into that. And so this is working with your spiritual team, working with people around you, but particularly calling upon the energy of your grandparents if they're past or if they're alive, if you're close to them, to work with them, to help, especially when it comes to finding lightness. That's really important. And navigation. For a lot of us, these are the lessons they've learned, right? Especially, not to be dark, but especially if you think of World War II and everything that's going on right now, our grandparents might know a thing or two about that, I know that mine do. So that would be something to potentially look into. And it might be great-grandparent, but for a lot of us, this collective, your grandparents are very strong right now. So seek them out if that resonates. And last but not least, just things from your spirit guides, I'm being told. But let's see. What would you see, feel, think, and hear if your wish came true? Again, that daydreaming. Stella, that immersion. They really want you to live in those dreams. Make it so real you can taste it. And again, with vision boards, that was something else they brought up. The Stella app we talked about, like scripting your manifestations. They want you in it. They want you to believe it's possible. Now, for some of you, you might not understand this, depending on how much you do or don't do energy work or what you know about it. When you daydream and you believe there's a solution possible to your problem, you're actually opening new neural pathways. And if you open new neural pathways, then that means there's a place for that energy to come in. If you're closed to it, energy can't come in. Locked door. No. If you're open to it, it can come in. And it can come in unexpected ways. It can come in, when you have a problem and you just believe it can be solved. I know that's crazy. You just go, oh, well, it can be solved. And imagine the most ridiculous way it could be solved. The most ridiculous one possible. It doesn't matter if it's ridiculous because you're willing to entertain that because it's so funny. And then that energy just comes in. For a lot of us too, there is joy in connection right now. Doing things for other people, showing up for them, sharing resources you may have, sharing stories, sharing anything you might have to give. It is a heavy time. If we all share, no matter what that is, we are going to lift a lot of that weight on its own. Like if you have friends that need something that you have, whether it's energy, whether it's kindness, if you know somebody that needs something you have, share it. That is going to help you and it's going to help them and it is going to create so much positivity that really helps cut through that density. So I hope you enjoyed this week's reading, and if you happen to notice any of the things coming through for you or you notice anything over the week, feel free to leave a comment and I'm going to have more ways you can connect to me down below, and I will see you next week for Mystical Monday.